Don't just stay in the shallow end. Join us on a DFS deep dive on For Frequency's Sake. And now here are your hosts, Brian Craighead and Jordan Kernan.
How's it going tonight? Oh, we're back for another edition of the DFS Deep Dive. And of course, my cat likes to come hang out with me as soon as I get on the podcast. I love it. Yes, I hear you. Oh, I'm trying to get to my upcoming lineups here. And here we go. Good thing I blurred it so you can't see her in the background. All right. We're going to jump right on into this here. Oh, geez. Gotta love animals. Let's jump right into this slate here. So DraftKings, NFL Week 10. What can we say? This is probably the best week that we are going to have here. The last couple weeks, I mean, we haven't had game totals over like 45 points here in the last couple weeks, and now we get one with a few of them. Pretty ugly Thursday night game last night. Had some bets in there, and none of those covered. But NBA's been in full swing, and we're really killing it in NBA, especially my guy Gotham Gambling, Dan Hancock. He does all the betting, all the articles for NBA, college. He just posted a bunch for tonight as well. So we've been following along with those, been killing it. Yeah, so if you're not following him on X, go ahead and follow him because he comes out with plays of the day, and he's just rolling right now. Looking at this first slate of games here, we got a few early games. Only 4 teams on bye this week: Kansas City, the Rams, Miami, and Philly. So a lot of high-powered offenses on bye. Let's jump right into it here in the game tiles. So I got games to fade. Got Detroit at Los Angeles Chargers as my best game on the slate. Over 40.5 points. Detroit is giving 3 points on the road here. Both these teams coming back from a bye week, if I'm not mistaken. Nope, I lied. Just the Lions. Lions are coming back from a bye week. So they should be well rested. I don't like the running back situation. Is going to be a little weird this week, just with Montgomery coming back. He's been a full participant in practice since Wednesday, so definitely see probably won't see the goodness out of Jahmyr Gibbs, and they're both priced right about the same. So I like the passing attack a little bit more with Detroit going up against the Chargers secondary. And I kind of wrote in my article that Detroit's defense has been pretty good, but they haven't been stopped. So I like the whole part of this game here. Game after that is Houston at Cincinnati, over under 47.5. Cincinnati giving 7 points. That's a drop point here since I wrote up the article, and the Bengals are still 7-point favorites. CJ Stroud, I mean, I tell you what, man, I wrote him up last week. I really liked him, and I ended up going with him as my LT QB. And holy cow, I mean, just him alone got me to cash. I doubled up and everything. I did what, $50 in double ups. I did $25 in head to heads, and then had one big tournament, and I ended up doubling everything. Cashed almost a little over $200 for the week. So that was really nice. But I like this game. Cincinnati's been really good, or at least they were at the beginning of the week. T. Higgins has been ruled out, and Jamar Chase isn't trending the hottest. He practiced limited passion on Wednesday and then was held out yesterday. I haven't looked at his report yet, but I was all over Joe Burrow, and Jamar Chase is a stack this week. But if T. Higgins already being out, if Jamar Chase doesn't play as well, I think I'm off of Joe Burrow. I just don't think there's the weapons there to justify playing him. I do like the other side, though. Cincinnati's defense hasn't been the best. I don't think C.J. Stroud comes up with another 4-touchdown, 500-yard performance, but all the weapons are still there. Nico Collins has been ruled out. So Tank Dell and Noah Brown are going to look good. Dalton Schultz is going to look good. Cincinnati's actually the worst defensively against opposing tight ends. So that should be a good one here. San Francisco, Jacksonville is the next one I've got. Over under 45.5. San Francisco given 3 on the road. The way San Francisco's been playing lately, I know their defense is good, but I don't think they should be 3-point favorites. I actually really like Jacksonville to cover the spread in this game. San Francisco can be beat through the air. Trevor Lawrence has looked good. They're on a 5-game win streak. They're both coming off byes, so everybody should be healthy here. I like Jacksonville in this game, especially at home. There's a lot of celebrities that are coming out for this. I just watched. I don't know if anybody watches Destroying. He was he's trying to become a walk-on college kicker at one point, and now he just does a lot of football videos. But he's there. He did a video about Jacksonville, and there's a bunch of people coming down for that game, so it should be a good game to watch. San Francisco side of the ball, Brock just look ugly. They do get Deebo Samuel back, and Deebo Samuel's priced pretty fairly, and I think they're going to need him in his gadgetry. I mean, out of the backfield, just the way he moves and the way he can break tackles and stuff. I think they're going to need him. So I think he's like 6,200. I really like him. Then we have Washington at Seattle, over under 45.5. Seattle given 6.5 points. Another game where I don't think Seattle should be. I mean, Seattle's tough at home, but I don't think they should be almost a touchdown favorite. Gene hasn't looked as good as he was last year, and Sam Howell's getting it done. He is significantly worse on the road, and playing in Seattle, like I said, is just a whole nother animal. But I like that game. I like this game to pop off. I like the over, and I like Washington cover here. I do like the Washington side of the ball. I mean, both Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson have been heavily involved. I don't believe Curtis Samuel is going to be in. I think he's trending towards out, and all you have left after that is Jamison Crowder, which he's live for a deep ball. But I really do think McLaurin and Dotson are a little bit better. And then kind of my ugly game here that I really I like it, but it's ugly. It feels gross. Atlanta at Arizona, over under 43.5 point total. Atlanta minus a 1.5. It's not the greatest of game environments, but the spread's really close. Atlanta's coming off a tough loss to the Vikings. Josh Dobbs comes in and gets it done for the Vikings on the last drive. But Heineke looked good. He's hitting his tight ends. He's getting everybody kind of involved. We're still kind of waiting on Drake London. I'm not sure if he's going to be out or in. We'll take a look at that when we go through the player positions. But Johnny Smith had a huge game last week. And then Arizona, Kyler Murray should be back this week. Everybody keeps talking about the new Call of Duty drop, though, so they don't know if Kyler Murray's worth the price at this point in time. So be wary; he could be playing Call of Duty all day and not be very good. Games to fade: Giants at the Cowboys. Represent. Over under 38.5. Dallas is giving 16 points. Probably one of the most lopsided spreads we've seen this year. And it's gonna be ugly. I like pieces of this game for the Cowboys. I don't think Dak is gonna have to do a whole lot. I don't think that I don't think CeeDee Lamb is gonna pay off his price tag. The one spot I'd like two spots. I like Tony Pollard a little bit. I just hope that if they are getting run, I hope it's him. They're trying to get him going, so I think that he is definitely viable. But the Giants' defense, man, Tommy Joe has not looked good, and I just think it's going to be ugly. It's in Dallas. It's just going to be a rough game for the G-men. And then another ugly game that I like pieces from this game, but I don't like it to go over. I like the under on this one, and I can't pick a winner. Green Bay at Pittsburgh, over under 39.5. Pittsburgh minus 3 points. Just Kenny Pickett hasn't looked good. Jordan Love hasn't looked good since the beginning of the season. Both teams are healthy, though. Pittsburgh just got Deontay Johnson back. Aaron Jones is back. So, I could be wrong about this game, but to me, right, just looking at it on paper and kind of writing up my article the last few days, it's just, I don't know, the more I look at it, the uglier it just seems to get. But yeah, I mean, we got one game at 8:30 in the morning. That's the Colts and Patriots in Germany again. So that game won't be on the slate. And then Jets Raiders Sunday night. That's going to be atrocious. And then Broncos Bills on Monday night. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 morning games, 4 late games. Those are my takes on what target fade. Go to a quick commercial break here, and we will jump right in to player positions.
Serving the Quad Cities area since 1973, and with over 50 years of excellence on their track record, you'll see why it's so easy to trust their experts when it comes to all of your home improvement projects. This family-owned business has you covered on all your needs. Protect your home or building from the elements today and get great roof repair services. Need new windows? No problem. Durham Remodeling can upgrade your windows and doors. Whether you want to upgrade the little details in your home or office, or want to tear a room down and start fresh, the expert contractors at Durham Remodeling have your back. Even the smallest changes can completely transform your space. Ready to start entertaining your friends for backyard barbecues? Durham Remodeling will help you plan, design, and build your deck and patio for the perfect outdoor space. Durham Remodeling's work is 100% guaranteed, so you can rest assured that you're getting the best service around. Call 309-786-6715 today for your free estimate for all your roofing, siding, flooring, windows, and painting needs. That's Durham Remodeling, 309-786-6715.
All right. And we are back. Oh. All right, let's jump into, I'm going to give you my lineup here first. So, and this is definitely going to change. I've been kind of toying around with it. I like it for the most part. I'm a little undecided on running backs. I don't know what I want to do. I've got a couple different plans. Like I said, I kind of like Tony Pollard, but right now I don't have any pay up options. I'm kind of banking on George Chase being in, and he takes up a lot of salary. But if he's not in, I'll probably be coming off of this. All right, so starting lineup. Joe Burrow at Houston for 6,800. Rachaad White, $5,800 going to Tennessee. This is kind of my pay down, like risky option. Tyler Algier, $4,700 going against Arizona. Super cheap. He's literally splitting touches with Bijan Robinson. Robinson's been more explosive. He's done more with his touches, but Algier's getting the work by the goal line. So he had 12 carries last week for 39 yards, 2 receptions for -9 yards, and a touchdown. So 11 points at $4,700. It's only 2x, which isn't great at all, and that's not going to win you a tournament. But Bijan Robinson didn't do much more with it. He had 6.9 points. And that's because I think he lost a fumble. Yep, he lost a fumble, so he lost a point. So I'm just not a big fan of, if he was getting all the touches and getting 25 carries a game, absolutely. But I like Algier. I like his upside price. Wide receiver position, Jamar Chase, 8,600. He's my stack option with Burrow. I like this play a lot more now that Nico Collins has been ruled out. Tank Dell at 5,500. You could also get to Noah Brown now that Nico Collins is ruled out, and I think that saves you some salary, and that's probably what I'll end up doing. Either him or Dalton Schultz, but Tank Dell's made my first look lineup here. DeAndre Hopkins, I was kind of toying around with him. I do like Hopkins going up against Tampa Bay. We all just saw what Baker Mayfield did to him and Rachaad White. So I do like Hopkins here. Tennessee's pass funnel defense. Tank Dell 5,500, Hopkins at 6K. This was kind of my other stack option with Joe Burrow. This is kind of the uglier part of it, but it was cheap. Irv Smith Jr., $2,700. Hasn't averaged the greatest, but he's on the field for quite a bit, and he does command a lot of the snaps at the tight end position. And the position, Jahan Dotson at 5,000, and then defense. I normally don't do this. I never pay up for defense, but Dallas Cowboys defense at 400. I just think they're going to smash the Giants. I think this might be a multiple touchdown week for the defense. So I see them putting up 20 points and it not even being close. But we'll find out. So jumping in the quarterbacks right here, I'm going to go ahead and just tell you that I'm not paying up for quarterback at all this week. Lamar Jackson at 8,000 going up against Cleveland. Last time they played Cleveland, he got shut down. I lied. He didn't shut down. Scored 30 points. What was I looking at? That's right. That was the week that, okay, I had this backwards. That's on me. I still stand by what I said, though. I don't like Lamar Jackson against Cleveland. I don't think this game is I don't think it goes to be close. And I just, 8K, even with a 30, that's still not even 4x his salary. So he's a lot to pay for this week. And I don't expect them to come out and put up a 28-3 score against Cleveland either. They ran up the score and just kind of rolled with it. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, and he's not getting those rushes near the goal line. He was. Edwards stealing a lot of stuff. So I think 20 to 25 points is probably more viable, but I don't think he's going to score another 30 at that price point. I don't like it. Justin Herbert up next. I'm sorry, but I don't think Justin Herbert's a good fantasy quarterback, and that's just my opinion. The guy looks good when he's on the field. 2 weeks ago against Chicago, he had 24 points. Last week against the Jets, 7.1. He is going against Detroit. They're kind of in the middle of both of those. I don't think he's going to put up 20 points, but maybe 15. He is at home, so home favorite quarterbacks is the way to go. But I said $7,700. He just hasn't paid off that salary all year, and he's not going to start now. First guy on my list, CJ Stroud, going right back to him. I like him better when he's at home. He's on the road here against Cincinnati, but Cincinnati's defense doesn't scare me. He didn't get priced up a whole lot, just $700. He's at $6,900. And man, God, what a week last week. I mean, that was just huge. At halftime, I was kind of checking things out, and he wasn't doing too hot. And then I looked at right after the third quarter, and he was almost at 400 yards with 3 touchdowns, and I was like, holy cow. And he single-handedly cashed a lot of my lineups last week. So I like CJ Stroud. In my article, I wrote up Joe, who's at 6,800. He's looked really good. And my honest opinion is if the Bengals keep in this way, I mean, I think only the Ravens kind of stand in their way right now. I think the AFC, if they don't end up playing each other in a game before this, I think the AFC Championship game could be Baltimore and Cincinnati. I don't know. Call me crazy. It's kind of like my AFC Championship prediction right now. They just both Joe Burrows look good, but if he doesn't have Higgins and Chase doesn't play, I'm not about that life. I will get off him. I will go to the next guy on my list, which is not Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott at 6,700. I just don't think he's going to have to do a whole lot. I think they rely on the defense and the run game here. But the next guy on my list, Jared Goff, $6,400. When I first started looking at lineups, he was the guy. I noticed he was away from home, but the Chargers just aren't good in the secondary. So I like Jared Goff with Amon St. Brown. That's just me. I'm still kind of undecided. Like I said, if those weapons aren't there for Joe Burrow, I always want to pay up 100 for CJ Stroud, but I really like Goff at this price. The Chargers are a little bit better against the run than they are the pass, so I could see this a game where it's a Goff game here. Then kind of in this middle tier here, really did add up a whole lot of guys. Trevor Lawrence going up against San Francisco. Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars have just been really good. I do think that they have opportunity to show who they really are this week. And if they can take on San Francisco and beat them at home here, I think that just speaks volumes. But I'm just kind of staying away from it. Lawrence, he's good, he's consistent, but at 6K, he's got to put up 24 to 30 points, and he's only cleared 20 points one time this year. So I'm staying away from Lawrence. I'm staying away from Kyler Murray. He's at 5,900. Like I said, first week back, Atlanta defense, they're no slouch. So I could see I'm staying away from Murray. Sam Howell going 12th man. Not a fan of that. Like I said, he has looked good. I do like some pieces from that game, but I just don't think he gets it done on the road here. Derek Carr. Derek Carr just does, he never has a score where you're like, man, I wish I had Derek Carr. Kind of the same thing as Lawrence, just not as consistent. Only broken 22 points one time this year. Geno Smith was a guy that I'm kind of on the fence about. As I kind of mentioned before, he hasn't done it this year. He hasn't done it since since week 2 against Detroit when they came out and had that big win. He just hasn't looked good, and they have so many weapons that it's hard to pick a stack. So, even if he does go off, like it could be any one of the 4 wide receivers or any one of the couple tight ends. I think DK Metcalf was out of practice with hip injury. So if DK's out, I kind of like some of the pieces. I just still don't like Geno Smith. Next up on my list, it feels gross, but Brock Purdy. He has not looked good, but Jacksonville's not the greatest against the pass. He gets Debo still back. He's just a cheap stack. I mean, you could really stack Purdy, Samuel, and Christian McCaffrey. And that'd be no different than paying up at quarterback and then trying to get 2 pieces of another wide receiver. But Purdy and Debo's cheap, and I think they'd find a way to get him involved. I mean, he hasn't been back. It was just a hairline fracture in his shoulder, so he should still be able to run, move, and juke. So I could see Purdy out to Debo quite a bit this week. Skipped over Jordan Love, skipped over Josh Jacobs, skipped over Deshaun Watson. Next up, Will Levis. We just saw what CJ Stroud did to the Buccaneers. Levis hasn't been shy about throwing the ball at all. 39 attempts last week, 29 attempts his first week. The only difference is just he threw for 4 touchdowns in week 8, and then threw for 1 interception in week 9. But that was going up against Pittsburgh. We all know that Tampa Bay is a pass ball defense. And you stack him with DeAndre Hopkins. And it lets you so much. D-Hop is super cheap too. So Daniel Jones on the IR, Baker Mayfield. I didn't run up. I could see if you wanted to get to him. Super cheap. Tennessee's a pass funnel defense. I like Rachaad White just because he catches ball in the back, but I don't know. Baker Mayfield it's worrisome to me. He's the same thing, every once in a while will he pop for a huge game. He just hasn't done it this year. Next on my list is Taylor Heineke going up against Arizona. Kind of a tough luck loss on that last drive by Josh Jacobs and the Vikings to come out the win. Threw for 1 touchdown, 1 interception last week. He's got some rushing upside. And at 5K, if he gets 20 points, he's just as good as Lamar if Lamar scoring 30, especially in the price difference. It's almost a $3,000 price difference. I guess I did write up Baker Mayfield. So yeah, Baker Mayfield not horrible. It's still just, I think I'd rather get to like Levis or even Goff at this rate. But if you land on him, why not stack him with Evans or Godwin? I think that's kind of it. I don't think I want anybody else. Kenny Pickett, no, I'm good. Clayton Tune's out. Nope. I think that's it. That's it for the quarterback position. I don't think. Yeah, yep. Desmond Ritter's still out, or not out, but he's going to serve as the backup to Heineke. So that shows you all you need to know. So pretty quick quarterback position. I mean, and as we start to get later and later in these, in the season, and we really start to figure out where everybody's priced and how everybody's doing. I do really think that you can start to really eliminate some quarterbacks from your pool. And just remember that, quarterback, it hasn't been, there's only been like 1 week this year where like a top option quarterback has been a score where you just had to have it to win a tournament. So you're paying up for quarterback in cash, and then in tournaments, you're probably going to pay down to a cheaper so you can fill in some other floor pieces. So having said that, we're going to jump into another commercial here. We'll get into running back position. Just a real quick shout out about this next one. Ryan Allison Tattoo. He is completely revamped what he's done on where he's going for business. He's looking for some people to take a look at some designs to basically get tattooed at a discount. It's something that he drew up. I've seen some of the pieces. If he's going with some of those, they're fantastic. But definitely check out Ryan Allison Tattoo on Facebook. You can. I follow him. He's followed by quite a few people. But we're gonna hit this commercial, and then we'll get back into the running back position.
My name's Ryan Allison. I've spent over a decade immersed in the art of tattooing. Sharply honing my skills has materialized into a diverse and prestigious body of work. Each tattoo reflects my relentless pursuit of excellence, and every client I work with is a living embodiment of that unwavering commitment. I will gladly and wholeheartedly embrace your distinct vision.
All right. Yeah, check out. So that little promo there was just a quick snippet of what I'm planning to do. So like I said, check out Ryan Allison Tattoo on Facebook. And if you're interested in wanting some new ink, he's the guy. And like I said, he's got this little promo going on right now where he's really trying to figure out but he's got a direction for where he wants to go with his art, with his work, and some people could really benefit here. So check him out. Facebook, Ryan Allison Tattoo. Jumping into the running back position here. So right off the gate, top of the list, as always, Christian McCaffrey, $9,200. If I can get to the guy I kind of want to this week, he's been kind of a staple in cash games. I mean, he's averaging 26.4 points per game. A little skewed because of the 51-point total, but I mean, since week 1, he's had well over 20 points in every matchup except for 2. So 8 weeks, 6 of them scored over 20 points. Never scored lower than 23. I'm sorry. In those 6 weeks, never scored lower than 23. And even on a bad week, still getting you 15. I mean, that's not paying off his salary at all. But, he's most likely going to get in the end zone at least once. I still think he's still riding that 17 or 18 game touchdown streak. So if you can get him, I'm all for it. Jacksonville is a little bit better against the run, but McCaffrey catches a lot of balls out of the backfield too. So then slide down to almost $1,000 cheaper, Austin Eckler, going up against Detroit. Detroit's run defense has been pretty good. I guess if I was going to attack Detroit, I'd want to do it through the air a little bit more. And I think if Detroit goes up, they're going to have to. Now, Eckler is an exception to that rule just because he's going to catch ball out of the backfield. Josh Palmer's out. Mike Williams is on the IR. So you're looking at Quentin Johnston, who's a rookie, Keenan Allen, and Austin Eckler as your primary pass catchers here. Gerald Everett and Donald Parham kind of mixed a little bit, but I don't mind getting to Eckler and saving a little bit of salary. I think he has a good game. Kamara, I liked him priced when he was priced in the $6,000 range, and even in the high seven or the low sevens, he was good. Now he's up over $1,000 going up against Minnesota. And there's just so many offensive weapons on this team that it's just hard. It's hard to get to him and want to justify paying salary. Um, he I was on him to start last week. I thought it was the best matchup, and then as the week kind of went on, I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm not. I don't. It just seemed too good to be true, and it ended up being too good to be true. So I got off Kamara, and I paid down a little bit at the running back position, and that allowed me to afford a few better stack pieces and kind of upgrade my defense a little bit. Yeah, 8,300. I'm just not a fan of Kamara. Saquon Barkley going up against Cowboys defense. This guy got 36 touches weeks ago and still only put up 18.8 fantasy points. That was against another tough defense, but man, the Jets are in shambles. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't just they start lightening the workload on Barkley, because there's no reason to rely on a team that's probably going nowhere. Derrick Henry, I didn't write him up either. Going up against Tampa Bay, I don't like that matchup. Tampa Bay's defense is really good. Next guy who burned us last week too, in a really good matchup, but Tony Pollard. God, what do we say? I mean, I guess I'm ready to get hurt again here. The Cowboys really should have to try in this matchup, and that's what really worries me. But I feel like this is a week to where okay, Pollard, like, show us what you can do. So I think it's this week or nothing. He's kind of right. I mean, he's been priced at 7,500 for most of the year. He spiked all the way to 8,000 in week 3. And then he kind of fell to 6,800 last week, and now he's kind of priced right in the middle where he's been priced all year. It's a great, best matchup you could probably look for. Like I said, if the Cowboys get ahead, Rico Dowdle and Deuce Vaughn could come in and start scooping in plays here. So I guess we'll see. I skipped over Travis Etienne. I like Etienne. He's a good runner, but up against San Francisco's defense, I'm not a big fan. At the beginning of the week, when David Montgomery was still questionable whether or not we knew he was going to play, I was all about Jahmyr Gibbs. I thought it was fantastic. I thought you could stack him with Jared Goff. And now that David Montgomery's back, I don't like either of them. It's a fair matchup, but I worry. I don't know. Who knows what they're going to do? So if they're splitting carries, neither of these guys should pay out their price tag. I'm just going to be a little contrarian with it, and I'm going to go ahead and probably stack Goff and just be different in that sake for it. I was going to say, geez. Yeah, I was trying to check to see. Yeah, he was really high owned earlier this week, but he's not so high owned now. So everybody's probably thinking the same thing. Both those guys are just going to be eating from each other's production. Then we get into Kenneth Walker. Seattle's at home. I like running backs at home. They're favored. Everything kind of sets up really, really well for Kenneth Walker. Cheapest he's been in 4 weeks. He's $6,800. He's kind of been floating around that all year, but I do like him at home. But I also do think that the game script could flip a little bit. I don't trust Seattle, but he's not a bad option. Somebody who I really like here, if he's going to get all the workload like he did last week, Aaron Jones came back last week, 20 carries, 70 yards, 4 passes on 6 targets for 26 and a touchdown. Yeah, I like Aaron Jones going up against Pittsburgh's D. Pittsburgh's D is not it's not what it used to be, and they can meet on the ground too. So I like Aaron Jones at $6,500, and I think he's probably somebody that I'm going to get into my lineup regardless this week. Skipped over Joe Mixon. Houston can get run on, but I like Joe Burrow more at the beginning of this week. Now, if all these guys are hurt, Joe Mixon might not be a bad play. But as for me, I'm not going there. Gus Edwards, the guy's just been producing. He's only getting so many carries a week, though. Like last week, he only got 5 carries, turned it into 52 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, of course, it was a blowout. It's 37-3. they really didn't have to do a whole lot, but I kind of skipped over him too, just because I don't know, like the volume's just not there. It's wishy-washy on what he's going to do for the week. Bijan Robinson priced down again. This is where he should have been all season long, in my opinion, anyway, because he really hasn't justified anything. I already talked about Algier. I just think it's a 50-50 share now. Like Bijan's explosive. Can he pop one off? Absolutely. But at this rate, I'd almost rather pay down for Algier just because I was getting the same opportunities. James Conner's designated for return, but still questionable. So he hasn't been a full participant, so skipped over him. Rashad White at 5,800 finally had the matchup that had the score that matched his value. The guy is getting, he's getting carries and touches left and right. I mean, at least 15 touches every single week. Most of the time, it's more than that. But he finally put up a good score, worth having. Of course, I didn't bring him back in my CJ Stroud stack, but God, that would have been awesome. 20, almost 28 points, 27.9 points. The matchup is a little wonky for me. He's the kind of the same thing as Eckler. He's going up against Tennessee, who they're a pass funnel defense, but he catches a lot of balls out of the backfield too. So I do like Rashad White. Skipped over Madison. Cam Akers went down, so Alexander Madison is the guy. But going up against New Orleans, tough run defense, I don't like it. He hasn't done anything against good defenses, or against bad defenses, so skipped over him. Brian Robinson Jr., a little different in Seattle against playing in the 12th man, so skipped over him. Jerome Ford is getting all the looks. He's somebody I went with last week. He had 20 carries and then 5 catches for 33 yards. Just didn't do a whole lot with his volume. They're going up against Baltimore this week, so the matchup just to me isn't there. And that's kind of why I'm on him. Dameon Pierce just listed as out this week, unable to practice at all this week. So Devin Singletary is going to get some carries here. We'll look. I didn't look him up, but we'll look at Devin Singletary once we get to him. Kareem Hunt, same reason as Jerome Ford. Now here's two guys that it's the same thing as Algier and Bijan in my eyes. It's a coin flip. Jaylen Warren at 5K and Najee Harris at 4,900. Green Bay hasn't been the best at defending the run. Pickett's not getting it done. These guys are the exact same thing. They're splitting carries pretty close to a 50-50. It's more like a 60-40 in favor of Najee, because Najee's still involved in the passing game. He got 16 carries to Jaylen Warren's 11, but they're both getting the same amount of targets. But Jaylen Warren's just been way more explosive. So Jaylen Warren at 5K, if they just give the guy the ball, if they gave him the 16 carries and Najee the 11, I think it'd just be huge. Just the score says it all. 14.3 points, 15 point. See, Najee Harris got the touchdown. That was the problem. Najee Harris doesn't get that touchdown, and he only scores 9 points last week on 5 more carries. So they scored about the same, and it was literally the touchdown that saved Najee Harris's day. Jordan Mason, no thanks. Joshua Kelly, no thanks. Keaton Mitchell, he was the guy last week for Baltimore, but he comes in questionable. He practiced fully though, so Keaton Mitchell's somebody to keep an eye on. I don't like the matchup against Cleveland, but he looked good. 9 rushes for 138 yards. He would have been a good guy to have super cheap last week. He had a touchdown. He only had 1 catch, but Keaton Mitchell, that's somebody to kind of keep an eye on. So then we got Devin Singletary at 4,700. Dameon Pierce is out, but Singletary didn't do anything last week. 13 attempts, 26 yards, 2 catches for no yards. So, yeah, take that information and do with it what you will. But Singletary is very viable. If I'm going to pay down that low, I'm just going to pay for this guy right here, Tyler Algier. He's splitting carries, but he's in a better matchup. He gets passing down work. He would be probably the lowest I'm willing to go this week, especially with all these other people coming back. Yes. Yeah, nope, that's going to be it. Yeah. Lowest I'm going is 4,700 Tyler Algier. So, hit you with one more commercial here, and then we are going to jump right into the wide receiver position. Keep on rolling. This is the DFS Deep Dive on the For Frequency Sake Network.
For Fantasy's Sake has teamed up with Route 96 Boutique to raise a little more cash for Toys for Tots this season. From September 10th until the end of November, 10% of all purchases made with Route 96 on Sundays will be donated to us for our Toys for Tots drive. At Route 96, they believe in girl power. They want a place that people of all shapes and sizes can shop and feel empowered and beautiful. They want you to be the best you possible, and they are committed to bringing you different styles while also providing some basics to express the true you. You can find them on Facebook and at route96boutique.com.
Route 96, check them out. Jumping right into the wide receiver position here. Starting with top guy on the slate. Well, actually, hold on. Let's double check here. Oh, Justin Jefferson is designated to come back from the injured reserve this week. He is still listed as questionable with the hamstring. It sounded like he is. It sounds like he's still going to be held out though. They don't want to be over aggressive with him coming back. He only feels about 80 to 90%. I would say he's more rather than being questionable. I'd say he's more doubtful than questionable. And even if he does come back, New Orleans is a pretty good defense. So I could see them waiting to bring Jefferson back for another week. So that leaves me with the next top raw option on the slate, and that's going to be Keenan Allen. I think the Chargers are going to have to throw to keep up in this game, and no Josh Palmer, no Mike Evans. Allen gets a lot of production taken away from Austin Eckler, but I mean, he's actually stayed healthy all year long. It just sucks that he just doesn't do a whole lot with Eckler in there. I mean, he's still getting 10 targets, 9 targets, 9 targets, 1 target. I mean, he's not getting the touchdowns. They're giving all the touchdowns to Eckler. So, he really needs the 8 catches for 90 yards and a touchdown to really get there. So I do like him. But if I'm going to pay up that high, I'm going to go with probably this next guy if he's in the lineup. That's Jamar Chase. Stack him with Burrow. He sat out the first practice on Wednesday, came back as a limited participant on Thursday and Friday. It sounds like they're non-committal about the receiver status for Sunday. So it does worry me a little bit. Like I said, if Jamar Chase is also out on top of T. Higgins, I mean, you could do a Burrow stack still with like Tyler Boyd and I can't pronounce the other guy's name, Avosas, something weird like that. But I don't Jamar Chase is a generational talent, and he definitely makes Joe Burrow look a little bit better. So if Chase is out, I'm off, obviously off Chase, but then off Burrow as well. CeeDee Lamb 8,500. I don't like that just because I don't think they're going to have to do a whole lot. If they are, maybe it's CeeDee Lamb who's getting there, but $8,500, like I said, I kind of like Tony Pollard a little bit more. Next guy that I love, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 8,300, going up against a terrible secondary in the Chargers. This is my stack if Chase can't go. So I like the Goff to St. Brown stack coming off a bye. And he's looked good. So I like Amon-Ra. I don't mind Mike Evans here. I wrote him up. Buccaneers, another good matchup against the Titans. Evans has been solid the last 3 games, and the Titans defense isn't going to stop him now. Evans has kind of been preferred option for Baker Mayfield the last few weeks. Still, not, the points aren't there. It's not super crazy, but and with the way the Titans play defense, he could get there. I skipped over Brandon Ayuk. I think he's just priced too high, especially for the way Purdy's been playing. DK Metcalf looks like he shook his questionable tag. So now with DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Smith-Jigba, and Jake Bobo kind of coming on the scene. I don't really like any of those guys. Not for their prices. 6,800 is just too much for DK Metcalf with the production that he has. I'm not saying that he can't produce, but the volume's not there. Chris Godwin's another guy that I wrote up, 6,700. He's just been just as consistent, except for last week. He didn't catch any. He caught 2 balls off 6 targets, so he's still getting the volume. It's just a matter of he didn't catch last week. So if you like that game environment and you want to save $500, Chris Godwin's the guy. I wrote up T. Higgins, but he's out, obviously. So is Nico Collins right above him. So can't really talk about them. Chris Olave, I hope for this guy this year. And there's so many mouths to feed on this team. I mean, Taysom Hill stealing carries and touches. Alvin Kamara coming back stealing touches. I mean, Michael Thomas has kind of had a resurgence. Now Rashid Shaheed is on the scene, and it's just Derek Carr's just not a good enough fantasy quarterback to give these guys solid games week in and week out. And Olave's, it struggles for him, and it sucks because he's a good talent. But I wrote him up, but man, I mean, I just don't know if I'm getting there. Amari Cooper, I do like Amari Cooper. I didn't write him up just because of the matchup. Going up against Baltimore, it's just a little tough. Here's another guy that I really like, Deebo Samuel. Says he's a full go, says he's ready to get back on the field. And I definitely see him being just heavily involved here. So at 6,200, I mean, you got to think to start to see. I mean, he really wasn't priced all that high. He was at 6,100 right before he went out, and that's just because he wasn't doing anything. But I think that was when they were winning games, he was a huge part of that success. 22 points in week 2, 28 points in week 3. I think if they want to get back to their winning ways, they're going to have to get Deebo back involved. Next up, I wrote a Tyler Lockett. It was only because Metcalf was on the injury report. Like I said, just the same as Metcalf. I mean, he's only $700 cheaper, but the volume's just not there for these guys. He did get 8 targets last week, which is good, but only caught 3 for 32 yards. Christian Kirk, I don't like the matchup, but the Niners can be beat through the air. So if they are, it's going to be for Lawrence is going to be airing the ball out, whether it's to Kirk or Ridley or Ingram. I just like Kirk. He's been more consistent all year, except for week 1. So I don't mind Christian Kirk. This is another guy I really, really love, DeAndre Hopkins at 6K. He's been Levis's favorite target, and it's a good matchup against a pass funnel defense. I like DeAndre Hopkins a lot. His price hasn't gone up. He was $6,000 last week. He was only $50. He only got a $500 pay bump from he caught those touchdowns. I mean, 11 targets last week, only caught 4 of them. I definitely see D-Hop staying the same. 10 plus targets, I think, are coming his way. Jordan Addison going up against New Orleans. I don't like it. I like him a little bit better if Justin Jefferson's still out, which it sounds like he will be. So, but at 5,900, he's starting to get to the top tier of where he's at. And a downgraded quarterback in Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs has been good, but he takes some carries, he runs, and I just think that hurts Addison's overall production. Terry McLaurin, I like Terry McLaurin in this matchup. Like I said, Seattle, it's tough playing Seattle at home, but Seattle's defense isn't as good as it used to be. So I do like Terry McLaurin here. Zay Flowers, he's still getting a ton of the snap share, the target share is there, but they really didn't have to do anything the last couple of weeks. They've been kind of just rolling. I'm sure he'll be due for a pop game here, but I don't think it's this week against Cleveland. Calvin Ridley, if you're looking for a floor guy to play in cash, I think it's Christian Kirk. If you're looking for the guy to score you 30 points, it's probably Calvin Ridley. We'll have to see what happens here. I mean, he's $400 cheaper than Kirk. I didn't write him up, but he's got that's the guy that nobody's going to be in at. He's going to win somebody a tournament one of these days. Tank Dell, this is a huge Tank Dell kind of bumps up to the number 1 wide receiver team now, with Nico Collins being ruled out for this week. I think he's going to be super high owned, especially after what he did last week. So I like Tank Dell at 5,500, and now he's the number 1 wide receiver on this team this week. Drake didn't shook his injury designation, so he took every rep at Thursday's practice. He's cleared, ready to go. They have a good matchup. That could be a stack right there. It's Taylor Heineke and Drake London, and then Jonnu Smith on top of that. I actually kind of like that. It makes me interested. I skipped over Deontay Johnson. Just Kenny Pickett's hurting him. I mean, he had a good week that week against Tennessee, but Tennessee plays the pass. I think TJ Watt. I think TJ Watt's get to Pickett, or no, Jesus, TJ Watt's on the same team. Oh man, I'm all over the place tonight. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Deontay Johnson. Let's see how high owned he is. Oh, no way. Maybe I'm missing something. Deontay Johnson right now is slated to be the highest owned wide receiver this week by almost a whole percent. Interesting. I wasn't on that one at all. Yeah, because Yair Alexander will be on Pickens most likely. I don't think he shadows, but I guess if Pickett's going to get it done, they're going to have to go through Deontay Johnson. I do like the running backs a little bit more, but okay, I guess you could play Deontay. On the opposite side of that game, Romeo Doubs, I do like him a little bit. He's just cheap. All these Packers pieces are cheap. I wouldn't put him and Jones in the same lineup at all. But if you think that Jordan Love's going to come out and show it, then, you got to have, you can get Dez or Watt for super cheap. I think he even listed Jaden Reed because he was super cheap. Marquise Brown, we'll have to see. I'm going to wait a week here. Atlanta's defense has been pretty okay. In Kyler Murray's first game back, I'm going to give it a week. George Pickens, I think he's shadowed by Yair Alexander. And I think just Pickett's hurting, all those wide receivers play. Jahan Dotson was the next guy I wrote up. Way more of the last 3 weeks, especially with Curtis Samuel being questionable, being out. So I like Dotson here. He's always live to rip a big one here. So we'll see what happens. I said Christian Watson already. Somebody who, although I don't like Burrow, if Chase and Higgins are both ruled out, I do like Tyler. If those guys are ruled out, Tyler Boyd shifts to the number 1 wide receiver on his team at $4,600. At that price and at the volume that he'd most likely see, I think he'd be a lock button for me. That's just my opinion. We'd have to see, obviously, I know where the field's going, but if these guys get ruled out, even now he's going to be the second option on the team, just super cheap on a team that hasn't really ran the ball very well. So yeah, I don't think none of this stuff updated a lot. He was trending in the top 20, but T. Higgins is still on the high side ownership too. So we'll have to see what that looks like here in the next couple of days. But I could see Tyler Boyd definitely jumping up. Rashid Shaheed, he's boom or bust. Obviously a really low floor, but man, he could catch 2 or 3 balls for touchdowns. Quentin Johnston at 4,100, super cheap option. No more Josh Paul right now. So he's going to see reps at the number 2 position, but he might be the number 2 wide receiver, but he's the number 3 receiving option on the team. It's the Allen and Eckler show. But for 4,100, you really can't beat it. Smith and Jigba, he's getting 7 targets last week, so he's really starting to come up. At 4,100, he scored 12.3 points last week, and that's 3x his salary, so that's solid. But it's just there's a lot of mouths to feed on that team. Robert Woods coming back this week. It says that he practiced in full on Friday. I just think he's dusty. I think the Texans have what they want in Tank Dell with Noah Brown, who's a little bit cheaper, and he's going to make my list and probably my lineup. Zay Jones is out. I don't want any piece of Juwan Jennings. Curtis Samuel is questionable. No thanks on Odell Beckham. Talked about Jaden Reed a little bit. I don't mind it, but I just don't like Jordan Love's play. Somebody who I do like, Josh Reynolds at 3,800. It's kind of between him and Jameson Williams, who have been they've kind of been going back and forth as the number one, number two wide receivers. Josh Reynolds was on the field a lot last week, but didn't really do anything. I think he dropped the ball, and that's why they kind of stopped looking his way after that. So before they went on, Josh Reynolds on the field for over 80% of the snaps, but only saw less than 5% target share. So, Jameson Williams was only on the field for half of the snaps that Josh Reynolds was, but had, they're drawing up plays for him. So I like Amon-Ra and I like Laporta a little bit more, but Josh Reynolds, Jameson Williams, both viable options. If you needed a cheap guy, you could probably pay down that. But if I'm going to pay down there, I'm probably just going to load Noah Brown into my lineup. Huge week last week. Looked fantastic. Let's see. Yeah, 6 catches, 153 yards, and a touchdown. He's going to jump up into probably the number 2 wide receiver role here. That's huge. Yeah, that's huge for him. In a game that, Cincinnati is a favorite. So, CJ Stroud and Texans could have to throw. They really don't have a running game with no Dameon Pierce. So we'll have to see what happens. But I'm going to kind of start building a little bit of a lineup that I like, just in case Chase is out and I get off of Burrow. I think got one more promo here. So we'll go ahead and do one more commercial, and then we're going to close it out with tight ends and defenses. And I've kind of talked about a few plays I like this week, but we'll take a look at maybe some betting aspects of it.
For Frequency's Sake has you covered on all things sports. From the squared circle to the hardwood and the gridiron to the speedway, we've got something for everyone. Walk down the aisle with the boys from Cards Subject to Change every Sunday as they take a deep dive into everything pro wrestling. Need your gambling fix? We've got you there. Enter Pit Row with Rod Villagomez and Fast Money as we win the checkered flag with NASCAR, Xfinity, and truck race winners and props. Football more your style? Explore the waters of NFL DFS with DFS Deep Dive with Brian Craighead and Jordan Kernan each week. More into the science portion of the game? We've got a double dose of action there. The Professor John Bush and Dennis Michelson take you into their science lab and dissect your week in the data lab. Want an analytical take? Nick Gurl and the team at Gridiron AI come to you each week with The Lab. Need to know who to start last minute? The network's flagship show, For Fantasy's Sake, is here in a pinch. The fellows come to you live every football Sunday from 10 to 11:30 Central with the week's best DFS, gambling, and lineup advice. And wrap up your Sundays with Joe Winkle and Nick Brinks as they come to you live with educated ignorance looking at all the day's action. Can't get enough of Joe? He comes to you 3 times a week. Not enough football on Sunday? Not a problem. Kick your feet up at lunch on Monday and slip on into the football lounge with Mark and Dan while they look at the week that was in news, notes, and more. For frequency's sake, you know what we mean.
You know what we mean. If I'm not mistaken, I think I'm on the show this Sunday. So come hang out on Sunday, 10 o'clock Central Time. We're breaking down a slate. We talk funny things. You guys can laugh at us as we try to play the misconnections game. I thought that was fun. Kind of upset I didn't get to do it last week, but it's a good time. We'll get you ready for football on Sunday while football is going on, because like I mentioned, we have an 8:30 football game this week. So come hang out. All right, jumping into tight ends and defenses here. I'm not paying up for Mark Andrews this week. 7,000 is just too much for this guy. Yeah, I mean, he's not Travis Kelce. He's not going to get you the 30 points that I think you're looking for. He did have his best output against Cleveland last time, and they are at home against Cleveland this time. But I don't see myself getting there. I like a few different game environments. Then George Kittle, same thing. George Kittle, I mean, Brock Purdy's play has it's not been very good. Kittle did have a huge week this week. Now you got Debo coming back. You got Ayuk. You got McCaffrey. And Kittle kind of had a ceiling game last time out with almost 27 points. I don't know that he gets there this week. And honestly, the last 2 weeks have been a lot of tight ends. Like, it seemed like all last week it was like Dalton Schultz touchdown. I mean, you just saw tight end touchdown. Taysom Hill rushed one in. Dalton Schultz had one. Jake Ferguson had one. Jonnu Smith had one. This stuff was just insane. It seemed like every time I looked, I'm like, oh, yeah, throwing touchdown. Oh, it's another tight end. And, of course, none of the tight ends that I had. So, yeah, I don't know. But I don't like those two. Top tight end on the list. On the slate, Sam Laporta, 5,700. I don't think I'm going to pay any higher than him. He's just getting peppered with targets. I think they're going to have to. I think it's going to be a back and forth game here. I love Laporta. He's really good. He's definitely involved. So Laporta, I think, is kind of where I'm set at on tight end here this week. Taysom Hill is just getting too expensive. He had, 16 points, then 22, then 20. So he's been playing fantastically. And he hasn't really been hurt at all with the return of Juwan Johnson last week. That was Michael Thomas who took a hit, who I originally had in my lineup, and I switched off of him last minute because I got a little worried. I'm glad I did because the guy didn't have any points. But Taysom Hill at 5,100, I think that's too much. I mean, he is getting the opportunity to throw. He's getting the opportunity to run. So, I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe he can do it. But 100, I'd rather just find the money to pay up for Laporta. TJ Hawkinson's got a Q tag right now. Played through an injury after last week. Got hurt ribs. I don't know. I think Josh Dobbs has steals some targets and stuff away from him as well. Now, especially now that he's been in the system for a week. So kind of away from Vincent. I like Dalton Schultz in the same price range. So Dalton Schultz at 4,900. Like I said, Cincinnati's not good against the tight end position. If I was going to pay a little bit more down, I needed to save some money. Dalton Schultz is my guy. I don't mind Jake Ferguson, but again, I don't think the Cowboys are going to have to do much. Evan Ingram going against San Francisco, not my ideal spot. We talk about this guy week in and week out, but I'm done playing Kyle Pitts. I've been burned on him twice this week. If he's going to beat me. I don't care anymore. I can't do Kyle Pitts anymore. I'd rather play Jonnu Smith, who's cheaper and who's getting more targets and who's producing better and who's doing more touchdowns. Kyle Pitts has got the talent, but man, no thank you. David Njoku, I don't mind him going up against Baltimore, but like I said, at 4K, I can pay down. I can find a cheaper tight end to pay down for, like Joe Everett, who should see more routes. He gets vultured a lot by Donald Parham, so he's not somebody that I'm jumping the gun, but I mean, he is there in the mid tier for these guys. No thanks on Logan Thomas. No thank you, Luke Musgrave. I think he's being drugged down by Jordan Love. Next guy I'm interested in is Jonnu Smith. I just talked about his counterpart, Kyle Pitts. I'd just rather pay down the $500 and get Jonnu Smith. Heineke likes to air it out. I think Jonnu Smith is his preferred fit. And I think with Drake London coming back, I think that hurts. I think it hurts Kyle Pitts more than it does Jonnu Smith. Trey McBride, I didn't write him up, but he's probably serviceable at 3,500 with Kyler Murray coming back. So I'm kind of interested to see how he plays. I want to give Kyler Murray a week to show me what he's going to do here. Cade Otton was huge last week. 6 catches, 7 yards, 2 touchdowns on 9 targets. He got it done. Tennessee doesn't defend the pass very well, but they defend the end position pretty decently. So we'll have to see. But Cade Otton's definitely emerged as one of Baker Mayfield's favorite targets. I talked about Donald Parham, 3,200. Just a huge red zone threat. The guy's 6'7". I mean, he gets red zone targets like it's going out of style. The floor is the lowest floor that you're going to get at the tight end position, but the ceiling is 2 touchdowns on 2 catches. So Juwan Johnson comes back and basically takes all of Michael Thomas's hits. 5 catches, 29 yards, and a touchdown on 5 targets. Solid score for his first week back. Only raises price $200. It's a decent matchup going up against Minnesota here. Chico Conquo, I didn't write him up. He hasn't done anything all year long. I don't think that changes here. But, if you were going to stack like Will Levis, I think Levis is going to need 2 people to take, he's going to drag 2 people along with him. And I think that could be DeAndre Hopkins and Chico Conquo. So Tampa Bay is not very good against the pass and even worse against the tight end position. So I think I'd strictly only put him in my Will Levis stacks, but that's one of those things to where to each your own here. Yeah, he's not even popping on the ownership list. So I wrote down Danny Bellinger. I should have probably wrote up Chig instead, but Bellinger at 3K. Tommy DeVito's not going to pass the ball, so I'm off of that one altogether. Even though he is the number one guy there. Scrolling down. 2 guys that I kind of liked, and I mentioned one of them was in my lineup. Irv Smith Jr. at 2,700 and Drew Sample at 2,500. It's a coin flip. They're on the field the same amount of time. They both got 3 targets last week. I think the only difference is that I think Smith caught a touchdown. Was it Sample? Did Sample catch one too? They both caught a touchdown. So, yeah. So, who knows? But I don't think you go wrong with either one. Like I said, they're on the field the same amount of time. It's just a matter of, they both aren't going to catch a touchdown. But could you guess right and, really pay off their salary? Absolutely. Moving right along here, we're going to jump right to defenses. I had the Cowboys in my first lineup. The Giants are terrible. The Giants suck. They're not going to be competitive here. I think the Cowboys defense at home just runs away with it. But it seems like when I do think that, it doesn't happen. There's another defense that, puts up the same amount of points for half the price. So, yeah, it's one of those things to where, I hate paying up for defense just because you can really save some salary if you pay down. But, if they put up a 20 spot, you'd almost be better paying down at maybe a wide receiver position, which there are some value that opening up. So we'll see what happens. Shout out to Dan Hancock at Gotham Gambling. We talking about it in the Slack chat. He had Arizona. He liked Arizona in men's basketball at plus 5.5. And then there was a bonus on that game as the game of the week at 50% profit boost. And he was like, take him at 9.5 too. He's like, put the bet on both of them. If you win the 9.5, he said that, you make your money back. But if you hit both, he's like, I think I'm going to do, you double up. Arizona covered the 5.5 and the 9.5. Thank you, Dan. Gotham Gambling coming at you all the time. And he has been lights out so far with the college basketball season starting up. So good job, Dan. Right along. The Seahawks against Washington. Like I said, if I'm going to pay up, I'm going to pay all the way up. So I kind of skipped over Seattle, skipped over the Ravens, skipped over the Saints, skipped over Pittsburgh, and got down to the Falcons against Arizona. Kyler Murray's coming back. It could be good, could be bad. Who knows? I mean, Murray hasn't played ball in quite some time. So, is he going to shake off the rust in just a few weeks? Who knows? We'll find out. Skipped over 49ers, the Jacksonville. I think the Jaguars can make this game. I think they cover the spread, if not win outright, especially being at home. Skipped over the Bucks. Packers next up. I don't think Pickett's good. I think the Packers defense is good enough to make them have some mistakes. So I don't want that here. Going back up $100 to the Buccaneers, just to talk about them real quick. Levis is still a rookie. Yeah, he had a good game, but last week against the Steelers, it wasn't so great. So Steelers defense last week scored 7 points. That's respectable. At 3,500, 7 points is 2x, and honestly, that's good for a defense. So yeah, I'd say that the Bucks, the Packers, and the Titans are all right in that $3,500 to $3,300 range. I think they're all decent plays. If I had to pick one out of the three, I like the Packers, but I think they're all good enough. Skipped over the Vikings, skipped over the Lions. Don't like the Browns. Don't like Washington. Don't like Cincinnati. This might be a little bit of a stretch, but if Jamar Chase is out, T. Higgins is already out, the Texans defense going up against a lead Bengals offense might be worth a shot. I just don't. Tyler Boyd doesn't have the skill to get open like that. And you're talking 2 tight ends and then another guy who you hear every once in a while who catches one random touchdown. Sneaky play, I think, in my opinion. But those guys all have to be ruled out. Otherwise, I think Chase is gonna tear them apart. Skipped over the Chargers. I think the cheapest defense that you can play this week is the Cardinals. Heineke likes to throw, and we've seen what the Cardinals can do at home against a pretty decent offense. So I'd be pretty interested. If I really need to save the salary, I don't mind the Cardinals at 2,500. Honestly, even you can make a case for the Jaguars at 2,400 as well if you really needed an extra $100. But they're playing San Francisco. San Francisco's got all their weapons now, so I kind of stay away from them. Like I said, if you needed the $100, you can make a case for it. It was something like that, but I don't think you'll need to. And then you got the Giants at 2,100 against the Cowboys. No, thank you. I'm good. So then kind of looking at let's see here. I'm kind of looking at maybe trying to build just a quick lineup here and just kind of going through my own thought process. Trying to do a different stack with Jared Goff if Joe Burrow doesn't have weapons this week, and I think you can do it. It's a little wonky, but you get a Jared Goff stack with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta. You could definitely be a little bit different in the running back spot. You could pay a little farther down. So if you want like somebody like Aaron Jones, just trying to think here. So Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, Aaron Jones is one of your running backs. Then you pay all the way down for Noah Brown at 3,700, who's going to be the second wide receiver on the Houston team. DeAndre Hopkins, somebody I like against Tampa Bay. You could bring that back with like a Rashad White, who's pretty cheap. Then if you plugged in the cheapest viable defense that I think, that'd be the Cardinals. At least you have 5,100. You get like a Jahan Dotson, who I had in my lineup originally. So I mean, it works. You can plug and play however you want. But I definitely think that's a good option. Oh man, another one. Gotham Gambling at it again. Prop bet Tobias Harris over 24.5 points, rebounds, assists. Just got the notification. Just hit again. Huge shout out. I love when plays start to come through and you start seeing them on your DraftKings thing. So hopefully it keeps going and we you have a big night tonight. But yeah, I mean, you could even pay down a little bit further than like Rashad White, and you could go with like a Jalen Warren at 5K. I mean, you get all the way down to Algier at 4,700. That leaves 6,200 in the flex. Somebody I really like, Deebo Samuel. I mean, it's there. It's there for the taking. It's just a matter of what you want to do. Like I said, I think paying up at quarterback is the way to go this week. I would definitely stay in the mid tier and probably even get to some even cheaper guys. But that's going to do it for me. Just going to go through, take a quick look at the games and the bets. See if there's anything that I like. I kind of like Houston to make this a game. They're getting 6.5 points. I don't mind taking the Texans with the points. I think it was a touchdown earlier this week. So I think if you can get it back up to 7 points, I do like Houston getting the 7. Same thing with the Jags getting 3. I like that because I don't think the Jags lose by more than a field goal. But I think that is going to be all I want for at least the Sunday slate. Yeah. I like Jags getting the points, and I like the Texans getting the points. And then I almost want to say the Cowboys given 17. That's a bit of a stretch anytime I bet on the Cowboys, just because I'm a Cowboys fan. They never seem to cover. I was telling a buddy at work today that this will be the week that the Cowboys decide to show their ass and turn in a dud performance and give Tommy DeVito his first win. I don't think that's going to happen, but that would be my luck. So that's going to do it for the DFS deep dive this week. We come at you every Friday at 7:15. Missing Brian tonight. I like Brian when he's here. He's got a lot of ideas. We like to go back and forth a little bit. But yeah, usually Brian and I are on here 7:15 every Friday on the Freak Sake Network. And then you can catch usually one of us on the Sunday show, 10 o'clock to 11:30. Get you ready for betting, for DFS, just to watch the games, to have a good old time. And then you can follow me at jfantasy_sports on X, or just find me on Facebook, Jordan Kernan. So yeah, like I said, that's going to do it for me, guys. Hopefully everybody enjoyed hanging out and learned a little something. Just real quick, man, if you guys aren't following the article, I wish I'm going to know how to share my screen, because I'm going to show you guys some of these lineups. I mean, I have killed it the last few weeks in daily fantasy, and it's hasn't even been close. I mean, just looking at my double ups last week, they have the $10 giant double up. There's 5,700 people I placed in the top 100. The double ups are killing it. And then the head to head, man, I smoked everybody in the head to heads. The one head to head that I lost by 6 points. And yeah, he had a lot of Cowboys, and that's what really kind of set him up for that, because that was a good back and forth game. He stacked that late game. I didn't do that. And man, he just barely squeaked one out, and it was on the last few days. So read the article, check it out. It's got some good advice. Even if you don't take that advice, check it out, give it a share, give it a like, and then I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for hanging out.